afternoon, everyone. Welcome to foccaccia and antipasta workshop. Is everyone meant to be here that's here? I have to go through a little bit of housekeeping before I start the session. Just for toilets, is just through that door, down the corridor and turn right. And you don't have to ask police to sneak out. In case of an emergency, the closest exit is through the dining room, and we'll meet out on the school or just over the back fence. And someone will grab the kids from the front room and go out the front door on the way out. Sorry, I just need to refer to my notes. And can everyone see the monitor? Is everyone clear? Everyone's comfortable? Excellent. Now, normally what we do is we introduce ourselves. And I'll introduce myself and the course, the class that we're doing today. And then we'll just make our way around the room if that's okay. I'm Julie. I'm doing this session for my Cert 4 in Training and Assessment. And I'm doing it on something that I love doing. I love cooking and entertaining, so I'm sharing that with you. And a lot of my friends have asked me how to do things, so I thought I'd share that with you. So, Wanda.
Yes, my name is Wanda, and I'm here to listen to Julie about how to do this.
I'm Kelly, and I'm very excited to learn how to make some foccaccia. Looks very yummy and interesting.
I'm Cora, and I'm looking forward to learning how to make foccaccia and do a gluten overload.
I'm Andrew. I'm here to learn how to make foccaccia because I've never made it before. So, see you on.
I'm Glenn. I'm here to eat the foccaccia if everyone's made it.
And I'm Stephen. I'm here because wonderful.
Oh.
No, I'm generally even more excited than Kelly.
Okay, so the first thing I'll explain how to do is I've made from my own little sort of antipasta a few things and one of the reasons is because I had an overload of them, so many in the garden. So I did make some oven dried. Oh, did you hear that? First time it's opened. I made some tomato and oven-dried tomato, and I've also made some zucchini. So the main difference between the two is that both the way I did it was the same, but I finished this one off in olive oil, and it's really, really yummy, the tomato. And then the zucchini is actually in a vinegar, just in a white vinegar. And I did put some herbs in there and a chilli. So, and they're really nice with the foccaccia. So like an antipasta. And I did also, we had an abundance of chilli. I know there's a couple of people here that are interested in chilli. If I could, pop, there we go. That's the first time I've broken that up as well. And I needed to store the chilli somehow because it was going to just rot. You know, I couldn't keep it. I guess I could have cut it up and frozen it, but I thought that might be a nice way to have it, to store it, and then to use it as needed. So all I did with them all was put it in the oven. So it's actually at a low heat, but you've got the handouts there. So preheat the oven to 150, cut up to, I like to do it a bit smaller. There's some of the recipes say just cut the tomato in half, but I actually like it in smaller chunks. So mine was cut into sort of quarters or eighths, depending on the size of the tomato. And then I just drizzled it with a little bit of olive oil, and then you can flavour it whatever you want. Herbs, some garlic if you want to, or just have it plain. So yeah, and then just leave it in the oven for 2.5 hours, so it's a slow, long cook. But keep an eye on things like tomato, because they have a high sugar content, they can burn. And them to burn a little bit because it actually brings out really nice flavours. So they can get a little bit black on the edges, and that's fine because it really makes the centre of it really yum. So that's what I did with that antipasta. So I used it, and you can try some if you want. I have cut some of the foccaccia if you want to have a little something, or we can have some after.
Did you cook the chili as well?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
It's very strong, isn't it?
Well, actually, no. Sorry. The chili, what I did with the chili I cut and I de-seeded and I cooked the vinegar. I did it the other way around. So I did a sugar and salt and pepper in with the chili and made sure that all dissolved and brought it up to a decent heat so that it would sterilise the jar and everything. I did have sterilised jars to start with, but so that it all just sort of amalgamated. And what's it like?
It's all right.
It's been cooked, it's just been marinated.
No, yeah. So what the chilies were cut and they were put into the jar and the hot, what is it? Hot?
Warm.
Yeah, put it out. and so the hot vinegar went on it and then the jar was closed, so it sealed and sort of amalgamated a bit. Wouldn't have cooked it through, obviously. You need a drink?
It's fine.
Oh, so Steve has to try because he's a chili man.
Warm, it's not.
So it's really pretty easy to do. So really I pickled the chili as opposed to cooking them in an oven.
Do you think if you cook them, they would be a bit milder?
No, they actually usually intensify the flavour. Yeah. The same as drying them. So I have some dry chilies as well. I just felt for me, the smaller chilies I dry. Yeah. So this sort of size, I'll just sit out and let them dry at the room. I've got some red ones that I did last year. So that sort of size I dry. But I just thought that they started to go. I did have them a couple sitting out, but they started to rot. They just went off, and instead of, I think they're too big or something. I'm not sure. Okay, so that was my little intro with antipasta. So it's pretty easy to do.
What does antipasta mean?
Well, it's before. It means before. So it's in Italian. So it's before the pasta. So in a meal they had an antipasta. So and actually it's not pasta as well.
Yes.
So it's before the pasta. So it's like the entree. Yeah. And no pasta. Okay. So shall we get into the foccaccia? Sorry, I didn't show you I did have some slides about the dried tomatoes, but you've got that on your sheet.
Just a question on that. Did you put it in hot? Into the jar?
The tomato. Yeah. So you cook it, and then with the tomatoes, I'd cook it. I'd take it out, put it into the jar, and top with olive oil. And the olive oil is at room temperature. Okay. Whereas with the zucchini and this one, I actually heated up the vinegar, and then you can add spices and sugars just to balance it out a little bit, and then add the content. But the zucchini I did cook. I did oven bake the zucchini. Or this one's just purely pickled with the vinegar. And hot, apparently.
It's warm, it's not exactly hot.
That's the zucchini. Okay, foccaccia. So it's a little bit softer and fluffier than a pizza base. A pizza base you don't want to rise really that much. You want it really to stay quite a leaden sort of bread. And sort of the inside should be, cake-like almost. And as you can see there, it says for a crisp crust, you drizzle with olive oil. But I haven't done that today on the ones that I've done, but the ones that you are going to make yourself, you can give that a go. If you want a crisper crust, to add a little bit for the savoury one, add a bit of olive oil to it. And then if you want it sort of softer, you just can brush it with a bit of water. So it sort of has to absorb that as well. So here I've got some savoury ones with different toppings, and these ones is sweet. It's a totally different knit dough. Different dough. So for the savoury one, there's some dry yeast. Lukewarm water, flour. You can put fresh herbs in it or dry herbs. It doesn't really make that much difference. And today I actually used some dry herbs, the ones that I made. But having said that, I have recently made it with fresh, and the flavour does seem to permeate the bread a lot more. That's what we had the other day. We had some fresh herbs.
Yeah.
And it does just sort of give it a bit of a different flavour. Yeah. So, the method. So, if you have a bread maker, like I do, whether it's in a bowl or in a bread maker, you always have to start the yeast, waking up the yeast, because it's asleep at the moment, because it's cuddled up in my freezer and it likes to sleep in there. And so I have to wake it up and get it active and because it's alive, wake it up again so it can do its job. So lukewarm water, not boiling water. So if you don't get it from the kettle, because you'll kill it. Yeah. So it has to be from the tap. So it's, when you touch or dip your finger in or put your finger underneath the water, you can just feel that it's warm, not scalding, because you'll kill off the yeast. Okay. So you put that, you start off with the yeast, the water, and then it needs some food. So usually a pinch of sugar is enough, and that starts to wake it up and it starts growing. And that's when you see it's bubbling in the water. That's when you start to get it's acting, it's awake, and it's starting to do its job. And then you can now add all your dry ingredients to that. And then you add your dry. So just your flour, and so depending on, we've got two recipes for a savoury and for a sweet. But then you just add your flour, basically, a teaspoon of salt, and then you start mixing. In the bread maker, you just put it onto the dough, mine's number 12, onto the dough setting, and just let it do its thing. Otherwise, if you've got it in a bowl, you mix it all up together. Then you take it out of the bowl and you start kneading it. And then you knead it for a while until it comes together in a ball. And then it has to sit and freeze. So these are ones that I made earlier. So this one's a savoury dough. You can see it's risen really nicely. And this one has got herbs in it and some garlic. And this one I did in the bread maker. And this one has, we'll go to the recipe, and this has sugar and cinnamon in it. So it gives it a really nice, and so that's what these ones are here. So obviously with the savoury ones, we put savoury toppings on, and then we make the sweet toppings with say a bit of sugar and cinnamon. You can put dried fruit. You can actually put fresh fruit on top or into it. Tin fruit as well. Yeah. Okay. So as I said, you have to let it rise. So it needs to at least double in size before you do anything with it. And then
How long does that take?
It takes at least an hour.
And do you put it somewhere warm, or do you just...
Well, yeah. Well, at this time of the year, you can put it anywhere. If it was freezing and it was really cool, it's best to actually add some heat. And if you can't put it near a vent, it's not like what it used to be, with the heaters that used to sit in from, the radiating heat. When it's ducted, it makes it a bit harder. But you can put warm water in the sink.
Oh, yeah.
and then you just put it into the sink and I top it with a tea towel, and so that heat stays there, and that works really well. But at this time of the year, it doesn't matter. Or in the winter time, put it onto the windowsill, so when the sun's coming through, it'll be nice and warm as well.